So you can start, sir.
Okay. Ask admin to enable. Okay, done now. I can start, right? I can start, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So, good evening. Good evening, everyone. This side Dr. Abhijeet, your biochemistry educator at Auricle. And we have initiated our Auricle 90 days foundational life class for the university exams, where we are covering the all the important topics that can be asked for your upcoming prof exam, right? There, which I feel they are potent, they are important, right? And the topic that I will be discussing today, it will be amino acids and the protein biochemistry, right? So we are starting with the protein biochemistry today. I will be discussing the amino acid, the different types of amino acids, and I will be focusing on the properties of the amino acids as well, right? So in this session, I will be revising all the important questions, all the questions that have like previously been asked, all the important topics, right? In a very quick manner, crisp, concise, and conceptual manner, right? And all important points and topics which I feel that are potent for your upcoming exams will also be covered in today's lecture as well, right? So yes. So these are the topics that I will be discussing today. So in a long essay question, I will be discussing the structural classification and properties of amino acids. So it's a 10 marks question. Then I will be discussing the concept of isoelectric point, peptide bonds, yeah, and the clinical significance of amino acids. So either they can be asked in 8 marks or 5 marks, and short answers are basically 3 marks or 2 marks question. So in totality, I will be discussing like 7 questions today, right? And yeah, all in with these 7 questions, I will be revising the entire topics, right? And I will be telling you how to write the answer in your exam. So guys, you all know about the Oracle app, right? We have the recorded classes. Once if you're not able to like watch the live lectures, you can just move on for the recorded sessions which are there on the app. The live classes that we are providing daily from 6 to 10 p.m., right? Where we are covering like all the subjects, right? In the form of these Q&A, which are like relevant for your prof exams as well. Even the practical sessions are being recorded on the app, right? Exam module, guys, just before the exam, if you want to cover the entire topic, you can just cover it under 20 hours. And apart from that, we have a hard copy book set, right? Which can be available at your like doorstep also. You just need to order it, right? This hard copy book set is containing all the topics in the form of Q&A. All the topics which are from the past 10 years from different universities, they are covered. All the topics are covered, right? So we have the recorded classes, we have the live classes, we have the express exam module, which we are covering like everything in the 20 hours. And yes, one-to-one doubt clearing session is there. Hard copy book set is there. I have just told you, right? And updated question banks with from basic to advanced level. Okay, so entirely past 10 years questions are covered. All the questions from NEET, PG, INI, CET, FMG examinations are also covered. And nowadays the trend is of more clinical vignettes, right? So clinical questions are also there from basic to advanced level, right? So it's beneficial for everyone, for the ones who are appearing for the prof exam, for the ones appearing for NEET, PG, and FMG as well. So practical sessions, I've already told you, these are the recorded ones which are available on the app. Yes. And this is the subscription plan. We have the foundation plan, right? We have the advanced learning plan. We have the complete learning plan, and we have the ultimate MBBS plan. Apart from that, if you want some additional discounts, you can go on for Dr. Abhijeet 20 for additional discounts, right? Now, the very first question that I will be discussing today, it is, yes, describe the structure, classification, and properties of amino acids. Discuss the classification based on the side chain, polar, non-polar, acidic, basic, and cover essential and non-essential. So they have just given a hint what all has to be included in the classification. So I will be dealing with the entire classification in detail. But let us just start with the basic concept of amino acids first. So answer number one. Yes, answer number one. So we are discussing amino acids. Amino acids. Now, you already know amino acids, they are nothing but the building block of proteins. They are the building block of proteins. Apart from that, you already know amino acid will join with each other and together they will form protein. Together they will form protein. So protein is made up of amino acids. That is the basic concept which you know. Apart from that, one more point that I want you to remember over here, that these proteins, or in simple words, if I say the amino acids, they are coded by genes. They are coded by genes. And simply I can say they're also called as the work horses of genes, right? Work horses of genes. So basically the amino acid works, right? They are the work horses of genes. Now, they have asked the structure of the amino acid. So basically, you should know they are the building block of proteins. They are also like coded by the genes. Apart from that, if we talk about the structure of amino acid, and especially guys, I'm talking about the alpha amino acid over here. Alpha amino acid over here. Now, when I say alpha amino acid, guys, you already know we have a carbon. And this carbon is said to be alpha when all the four bonds, okay, all the four valencies are occupied by different functional groups. Then it is said to be alpha. We have non-alpha amino acids also. But over here, I am talking about the alpha amino acid, the basic amino acid. So in this basic amino acid, one group, guys, it is of ammonia, right? We have NH2, right? That is the amino group. Then we have the carboxylic acid group, right? We have the hydrogen group, and we have the R group over here. Okay. Or in simply, if we just want to tell that this R is basically the variable side chain. It refers to the number of carbon atoms. It can be 1, 2, 3. It can be many carbon atoms. So this valency is different. Above we have amino group. Below we have this carboxylic acid group, and one we have this H, that is the hydrogen wala group, right? Now, now guys, just try to remember this carbon is occupied by different valencies. All the four functional groups are different. One it is carboxylic acid, one it is amino group, one it is hydrogen, and one it is R. R basically means the number of carbon atoms. So all the four are different. That's why it is called as alpha amino acid, right? So this is the basic structure of the alpha amino acid, right? We have non-alpha amino acid also, that is called as beta alanine, which is called as beta amino isobutyrate. No need to know about that as of now. So just you have to remember the basic structure. And before coming on to the properties, let us just first try to discuss the classification of amino acids. Then we will come to properties also, right? So on the next slide, let us start classification of amino acids. Classification of amino acids. Now, when I say classification of amino acids, they are classified basically based on four characteristics, guys. They are classified based on side chain. They are classified based on characteristics of side chain. They are classified based on metabolic fate. And the fourth one, they are classified based on nutritional requirement. So they are classified based on side chain. They are classified based on characteristics of side chain, based on metabolic fate, based on nutritional requirement. Now, Let us just try to discuss the very first one based on the side chain, or I can say based on variable side chain. Now, in this case, the amino acids, they are classified into three categories. They are classified into three categories. Either it can be aliphatic amino acid. I'm writing amino acid as AA. Either it can be aliphatic amino acid, it can be aromatic amino acid, or it can be amino acid. Okay, it can be amino acid, right? Amino acid. So it can be aliphatic or either it can be aromatic. Okay, aliphatic means single chain. Aromatic means the circle. And amino basically means, yeah, I will be discussing the structure one by one. Yeah. Now, let us just start with the very first one, that is the aliphatic amino acid. Aliphatic amino acid. So just remember, guys, over here that aliphatic amino acid is further divided into, we have simple aliphatic amino acid, we have branched amino acid, we have sulfur containing amino acid, we have hydroxyl group containing amino acid, hydroxyl group containing amino acid, acidic amino acid, basic amino acid, and amides. We have simple, branched, sulfur, hydroxyl, acidic, basic, and amide. So these are the basic ones. Let us just try to enumerate the examples also. Yes. So the very first one, simple amino acids. So the example of simple amino acids, they are glycine. Now, when I say glycine, guys, you already know this is the alpha carbon. It will be having one carboxylic acid group, one NH2 group, and one hydrogen, right? One hydrogen. And in addition to that, we have one more hydrogen over here. So this is called as, yeah, the R group, it is hydrogen only. So this is, yeah, the R group over here, it is hydrogen only. This R group, it is basically hydrogen only, right? So this is glycine. Secondly, we have alanine. Alanine. Now, alanine, guys, again, the same structure. We have carboxylic acid, amino group. We have hydrogen, right? We have hydrogen. And in addition to hydrogen, we have this methyl group, CH3. So here the R is CH3. So this is alanine. So glycine and alanine are the simple amino acids. We can just take this hydrogen. Means, see, in all the amino acid, these three structures are same: hydrogen, ammonia, and this amino group and the carboxylic acid group. Amino group, carboxylic acid group, and hydrogen is same. Is same, right? Hmm. Sure. Understood? Now, coming on to the next one, we have discussed the simple. Coming on to the next one, that is called as the branched amino acid. Branched amino acid. Guys, the example that you have to understand, that is the live. So we have leucine, isoleucine, and we have valine. Leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Now, guys, over here, just try to see over here. If I'm just taking one example, you can just refer to all those in your book. Now, this is the carbon which is containing one amino group. one carboxylic acid group, one hydrogen. In addition to that, we have, yes, the CH, yes, we have the methyl group here and methyl group above. So this is the R chain. This is the R chain. This is the additional R chain. And this structure is nothing but of valine. This entire, it is of valine, right? Similarly, we have leucine also. In leucine, again, one chain will be extra. If I'm not drawing it, yes. Okay, I will be drawing it for you just to make you understand. Yes, we have one more carbon extra over here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons over here. So this structure, it is of leucine. Again, in this structure, the other things are same, the amino group, carboxylic acid, the hydrogen. The R chain is this, the R chain is this, right? So yes, even the isoleucine, leucine and isoleucine are just same guys. Here at fourth carbon, this methyl group is present, but in isoleucine, it is the third carbon where this, yes, methyl group is present. Otherwise, the entire structure is same. So this is isoleucine. What is the difference between leucine and isoleucine? That in leucine, at fourth carbon, this methyl is present. In isoleucine, it is the third carbon where the methyl is present. So that is the difference. So these are the structural isomers, guys. These are the structural isomers. Structural isomers over here, right? These are the structural isomers. So we have discussed branched also. Now we have sulfur containing amino acids. Now, sulfur containing amino acids. Let me just try to write it over here only. Yes, the third one that we have the sulfur containing amino acids. Now we have, yes, cysteine, and we have methionine. Cysteine and methionine. Then we have hydroxyl group containing amino acids. And the examples are, yes, you guys already know. We have serine and threonine. Threonine. Then fifth one, we have acidic amino acids and amides. Now, we have aspartic acid. Okay, aspartic acid, amide will be, yes, asparagine. Amide basically beta means CONH2, right? We have glutamic acid. We have, yes, aspartic acid, asparagine. We have glutamic acid. And the amide will be glutamine. Glutamine, right? Then we have basic amino acids. Basic amino acids, it is histidine, arginine, and lysine. Histidine, arginine, and lysine. Hal, right? Then we have aromatic amino acids. Aromatic amino acids. We have phenylalanine and tyrosine. Okay. We have tryptophan, histidine. Then we also have one amino acid that we have already discussed. Yes, we have, yeah, the amino acid. And remember, guys, the amino acid, it is, yeah, the one which is containing this, yeah, NH group, COH group, and this one, it is the alpha carbon, right? So we have a secondary amino group over here. Secondary amino group. And this ring, guys, it is called as the Pyrrolidine ring. Pyrrolidine ring. Hmm. So that is the based on the side chain. Yeah. Now, guys, we have like various classification. I've already told you. Now, we are going to discuss the classification based on side chain characteristics, right? So we have discussed based on side chain, aliphatic, aromatic, and amino acid. Now coming on to based on characteristics of side chain. Based on characteristics of side chain. So the amino acids, they are divided into polar and they are divided into non-polar. Now, when I say polar, guys, it is hydrophilic, water loving, hydrophilic. Non-polar means hydrophobic, hydrophobic. Polar, either it can be charged or either it can be uncharged. Okay, either it can be uncharged. So now the polar amino acids, let me just try to write it over here. The polar amino acids, okay, so they are A, B, and C. You just no need to remember, just try to remember this. Acidic and basic amino acids are charged. So you just have to remember ABC, that acidic and basic amino acids are charged. So we have already discussed acidic amino acid, that is aspartic acid, glutamic acid, and basic amino acid, histidine, arginine, and lysine. They are all, yes, the polar amino acids. Now, the non-polars, yeah. Okay, polar amino acids which are charged. Now, polar amino acids which are uncharged. Uncharged, basically, we have cysteine, we have glycine, okay? We have hydroxyl group containing amino acids, and you already know they are serine and threonine. And we also have amides. Amides we have just discussed with acid. Yes, we have just discussed asparagine and glutamine. So we have asparagine and glutamine, right? And what about non-polar? Just remember the polar ones, rest all are non-polars. Rest all non-polar. So when I say non-polar, we have branched amino acids, right? We have aromatic amino acids except histidine. Except histidine, we have discussed, right? Except histidine. Methionine, it is non-polar. Alanine, proline, they are all non-polar. So this is like polar and non-polar. Apart from that, they have also asked, yeah, essential and non-essential. Okay, before coming on to that, essential and non-essential. So yes, let me just have one more slide. Okay, so I'm just writing it over here. Hmm. So essential amino acids based on nutritional requirement. We have essential and non-essential. There is one more category called as semi-essential. Okay, these are basically required during pregnancy and growing age, so they become essential when no when puberty comes or whenever pregnancy is there. So that's why they're called semi-essential. Semi-essential, you have to remember histidine and arginine, right? And arginine being the most essential essential amino acid. Now, remember the essential ones, guys. We have methionine, threonine, tryptophan, valine, isoleucine, and leucine. These all branched amino acid, valine, isoleucine, leucine, right? And phenylalanine and lysine. These all are essential amino acids. These all are essential amino acid. Non-essential, you can remember, rest all. Non-essentials are rest all. So we have discussed based on nutritional requirement. Yes, we have discussed based on characteristics of side chain, polar and non-polar. We have discussed based on variable R chain. Yeah. We have not discussed based on one of the categories that I have just mentioned based on the metabolic fate. Now, metabolic fate, guys, the amino acids can be either catabolic or they can be either anabolic, right? They can be either catabolic or they can be either anabolic. Now, when I say catabolic, guys, catabolic, they can be either ketogenic or glycogenic, right? So remember, guys, yes, purely ketogenic. Yeah, purely ketogenic, it is leucine and lysine. Okay, according to the 31st edition. Yeah. Now, when I say ketogenic, guys, it is having only acetyl coenzyme A. Now, when I say glycogenic, it is only having carbohydrate part. It is also having a carbohydrate part. So there is one more category, guys, that is called as both ketogenic and glycogenic. It means that it is having, yeah, acetyl coenzyme A along with the glycogenic wala part, right? So remember, it is, you can just remember both ketogenic and glycogenic carbohydrate plus acetyl coenzyme A, that is PIT. Phenylalanine, isoleucine, tryptophan, and tyrosine. Phenylalanine, isoleucine, tryptophan, and tyrosine. And yes, glycogenic, basically containing the carbohydrate part, it is, yes, all other amino acids. All other amino acids. So the basic trick to remember, just try to remember the two, the rest becomes like rest all, right? So ketogenic, it is only leucine and lysine. Both ketogenic and glycogenic, it is PIT, phenylalanine, isoleucine, tryptophan, tyrosine, and only glycogenic will be all other amino acids, all other amino acids, right? So based on metabolic fate done, based on nutritional requirement done, essential, semi-essential, and non-essential, based on characteristics of side chain, polar and non-polar, and based on variable side chains, aliphatic, aromatic, and amino acids. So this is the basic classification of the entire amino acid. So this is the basic classification of the entire amino acid, right? Now, coming on to, okay, one of the part of the question that is left. Yes. Properties of amino acid. We have not discussed the properties. I think in the question it has been mentioned. Yeah, the properties of amino acids. Now, let us just try to focus this on one slide. What are the different properties of amino acids? Properties of amino acid. So the very first thing that they exhibit isomerism. Isomerism. Secondly, they exist in different charged state. Third, they have buffering action. Fourth, they absorb UV light. So now when I say exhibit as isomerism, guys, you have to remember, let us just take an example of alanine. Alanine, you know, we have like, yes, we have carboxylic acid group. I'm taking in charge state. We have, yes, the ammonia NH3 plus, and we have this additional methyl group, right? So this is called as D-alanine. D-alanine. So we have this alpha carbon, which is occupied by the 4 different valencies. That's why it is called asymmetric carbon atom, right? Now, if we just try to take a mirror image, guys, we'll have the same. Yes, over here. So, yes, this is the mirror image. So, yes, most amino acid in our body, they exist in L form, alanine. So remember, the most amino acid in our body, they exist in L form, right? Now, glycine is an amino acid with no like asymmetrical carbon because glycine is having hydrogen at 2 places. So basically 2 valencies are same. Otherwise, we have NH2 and COOH. But the 2 valencies are same, so we don't have any asymmetrical carbon atom. We don't have optically active carbon atom, no chiral carbon atom. So there is no D or L glycine, right? So yes, most of the enzymes in our body, they actually act on this L amino acids, right? So L amino acid is basically converted into D amino acid, right? By an enzyme called as racemase. Okay. And that is something you have to remember. Okay. Now they exist in different charge state, guys. This point I will be discussing in other question as well, so you just have to like wait till the time comes, right? So all these points will be now covering up in different questions also. We have different questions, so we'll be discussing it that and there also, right? So we are actually done with the very first question for today, that is the classification structure of amino acids, right? The classification of amino acid properties are done. Classification based on side chain, variable side chain, nutritional requirement, catabolic, anabolic fate, okay, charged, polar, uncharged, everything is done, right? So this is how you have to approach the question for the 10 marks wala part, right? Now coming on to the next question, question number 2. Now here comes the next property also and the question also that I will be discussing. Explain the concept of isoelectric point and its significance in amino acid chemistry. And its significance in amino acid chemistry. Now, you guys already know that amino acid basically exists in 2 properties. We have the isoelectric pH. Okay. Now, remember, guys, the amino acid, okay, like it is based on 2 properties. They exist in different charged state. Now, and it is based on 2 properties, guys. Based on 2 properties that you have to remember. One, it is pH of medium. And the other one, we have isoelectric pH, PI. Now, there can be 3 conditions where the pH, it is equal to isoelectric pH, pH more than isoelectric pH, or pH less than isoelectric pH. There could be 3 situations, right? Now, when I say the pH, it is equal to isoelectric pH. Now, guys, what happens? That, yeah. Let me just explain you. At pH is equal to isoelectric pH or the PI, the isoelectric point. Yes. Now let us assume that over here we have the medium. Okay. So and we have an amino acid which we have to like find it out. Okay. Now for every amino acid, guys, there is a point called as the isoelectric point, right? That is called as the isoelectric point. Now here, if pH is equal to PI, you already know we have this basic part, right? Now, if it is changed into, yeah, the polarized state, guys. So we have negative and positive charge. So if positive charge, it is equal to negative charge, then what will happen? That there is no net charge, there is no net flow over here. So this is called as neutral charge, or it is also called as Zwitter ion. It is also called as Zwitter ion, or it is also called as M4 lights. It is also called as M4 lights. It is called as Zwitter ion, or it is also called as M4 lights, right? So these basically now, what is the importance, guys? Now, see the question they have asked in significance in the amino acid chemistry, guys. So what all you have to like mention over here, that properties of these amino acids. Remember, guys, that there is no mobility. Very, very important. Yes, no mobility in electric field because there is no net charge. No net charge. They have maximum perceptibility, maximum pres- precipitability, minimum solubility, minimum solubility because they don't have charge and they have least buffering action. They have least buffering action, right? They have least buffering action, right? So yes, the question says, see, the isoelectric point of an amino acid is defined as the pH at which amino acid exists as neutral Zwitter ions. So I have already told you positive and negative, like they're equal, plus one positive plus one negative. Together it is zero. There is no net charge. Okay. So Zwitter ion is one that contains two functional group. Already told we have the carboxylic acid and amino group, right? They have both positive and negative charge, and in total it is neutral or negative charge, right? So that is something you have to remember. If pH, guys, remember, if pH is more than the isoelectric pH, then the pH is more. You already know if the pH is more, it is basic. Now when I say basic, anything which is basic, it will have hydrogen less, H plus ions is less, right? Protons are less, or I can simply say deprotonated or negatively charged. In the second case, it will be, yes, pH is less. Yes, just a minute. Yes, pH is less. So what will happen? It will be acidic. It will be acidic. So the hydrogen will be more. So it will be protonated or it will be positively charged. It will be positively charged, right? So this is something that you guys have to remember. Now, that was the second part. Okay. Coming on to the third question, guys. The third question. Discuss the formation of peptide bonds and their role in protein structure. Now, when I say peptide bonds, they are N-hydride covalent bonds formed between a carboxylic group of an amino acid and an amino group of succeeding amino acid. Now, guys, you already know we have two amino acids. One amino acid will also have this carboxylic acid amino group hydrogen and this R chain, right? And I'm taking other amino acid, which will be having the same carboxylic acid, NH2 group, right? We have this R and we have this hydrogen. Now they are saying that we are going to remove one water molecule. Okay, we are going to remove one water molecule, right? So what we are doing, we are keeping this. Okay, let us just take. Okay, yes, we are taking one OH from this and one hydrogen from this. So obviously we will have C double bond O, right? And yes, we will have this NH over here. And then we have this C continuation. So this bond, guys, C double bond O NH, okay, with the help of this loss of water molecule, this is basically a peptide bond, which is formed between two amino acids, right? Now, what are the silent features of these peptide bonds? They are the strong covalent bonds. They are N-hydride bond. Okay, they're formed by loss of a water molecule. They are amide linkages, right? Peptide bonds generally exist in trans configuration. Okay. Whereas you already know we have discussed proline, which is existing in the form of a cis configuration. peptide bonds are semi-rigid in nature. All atoms, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen are coplanar. During denaturation, peptide bonds are not affected because peptide bonds are strong covalent bonds. Right? What are the importance of these peptide bonds, guys? That they are responsible for the polymerization of amino acids. Okay, they actually form the polypeptides, the proteins. Okay, obviously, when the amino acids will join together, okay, that joining it is referred as polymerization of amino acids or oligopeptides and polypeptides. Oligo means less number, and poly means many, right? So, yes. So, that was regarding the, yes. The third question that discussed the formation of the peptide bonds and their role in the protein structure. Now, guys, this is something related to the metabolism part. But what is the clinical significance of amino acids in diseases such as phenylketonuria and maple syrup urine disease? Now, before that, if I just wanted to create a poll today. Okay. I have actually shared a poll. Dharenika, if you want, you can just answer the questions that are there. Yes. Hmm. No. Can you see that poll? I cannot. Yes. I've already shared the poll with you, Dharnika. Hmm. Now, when I say phenylketonuria, you have to remember it is the most common metabolic disorder involved with any amino acid, guys, any amino acid. Remember, this is autosomal recessive condition associated with any amino acid. It is autosomal recessive condition. Now, what is the biochemical defect, guys? What is the biochemical defect? Now, the name suggests phenylketonuria. So, obviously, we have phenylalanine amino acid that is converted into tyrosine with the help of enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase. Now, what will happen if this enzyme is defective? If this enzyme is not there, what will happen? Tyrosine will not be produced. So we will have deficiency of tyrosine. Deficiency of tyrosine. The phenylalanine, okay, will be more, right? It will enter into very other pathways, enter into alternate pathways. I'll be discussing it into, yeah, the metabolic pathways when I will be covering it. And obviously phenylalanine will increase because the enzyme which is used to convert phenylalanine into tyrosine, it is not working. Now, what is the clinical significance, guys, over here? That the patient will have, yes, from the phenylalanine, we have a compound that will be formed that is called as phenylacetate. Because tyrosine cannot be formed, it will go into some other pathway and it will form phenylacetate, which will cause mousy or musty odor. Very bad smell. Mousy or चूहे वाली जो smell, that is mousy or this musty odor. What are the clinical features that will be associated with it? The patient will have blue eyes, blonde hair, right? Obviously, tyrosine is basically responsible for the formation of melanin. Tyrosine is not there. So obviously we have a very fair skin, right? Because these all features will be there because there is decreased melanin. Melanin is produced from tyrosine. Tyrosine not there, melanin not there, blue eyes, blonde hair, right? Fair skin. And apart from that, it will have severe intellectual deficits. Earlier, we used to say it mental retardation, but nowadays we call it as intellectual deficits, right? So the first reason that there will be decreased thyroid hormones, okay? Obviously, the thyroid hormones are basically produced by the tyrosine only. Tyrosine decrease, thyroid hormone decrease, obviously mental retardation will be there, right? Phenylalanine in the blood is very, very high, right? So that is something you have to remember, okay? Along with that, if we just, I will be discussing the entire thing, but when I will be discussing these topics separately, okay, one more thing that they have said, that is maple syrup urine disease. Maple syrup urine disease. Now, when I say maple syrup, what is the enzyme deficiency over here? Enzyme deficiency is BCKD, right? Again, it is autosomal recessive condition, okay? And it presents in a very early age. Now, obviously, we have various types like of maple syrup urine disease based on the gene deficiency E1, E2, and E3. Right, we have E1, E2, and E3. E1 again classified into E1 alpha, E1 beta. Right, so we have type 1A maple syrup urine disease, type 1B maple syrup urine disease, type 2 maple syrup urine disease, type 3 maple syrup urine disease. Now, guys, the clinical features over here will be feeding difficulties, feeding difficulties. Obviously, feeding is slow, then there will be lethargy, failure to thrive, and obviously the enzyme deficiency, branched chain keto acid derivative, right? So there will be increased branch chain keto acid, and if acid is increased, it will lead to metabolic acidosis. It will lead to metabolic acidosis, right? It will lead to metabolic acidosis, right? So that is something you have to remember as of now. Right. So that was regarding the, like in very short, I have told you I'll be discussing the biochemical lab diagnosis and the treatment part also when I will be taking these disease separately in the upcoming session, which I will be taking up with the metabolism part as well. Right. So that is something you have to remember. Zwitterion and its relevance to amino acid, guys, have already discussed this question earlier. So one time it has been asked in a long way or short way, you have to mention all the important points, right, that we have discussed. Okay, now the question says name two amino acids that contain sulfur. Okay, and yes, what is like their usage? Okay, now guys, you already know if we talk about sulfur containing amino acids, right? We have cysteine and we have methionine, right? So cysteine, guys, you already know it is a polar amino acid. It is a non-essential amino acid, okay? And it is only glycogenic, only glycogenic. Methionine, it is, yes, it is non-polar amino acid. It is essential amino acid and it is purely glycogenic. We know all these points from the starting of our lecture, right? From the starting of our lecture, right? Now, guys, these are basically no very, very important in the form of like, okay, we have various kinds of reactions that I will be discussing later on. That is the transmethylation reaction. Okay. We have polyamine synthesis. And apart from that, we have the DNA synthesis. Okay. Epigenetic modification. So these polyamines, guys. Now, when I say polyamines, guys, they are the organic compounds with more than one amino group, right? They are positively charged. They interact with negative charged DNA. They regulate the gene expression. So all these are basically the importance of these sulfur-containing amino acids only, right? So yes, no, right? So that is something you have to remember. Okay, no. Apart from that, one of the question importance of stereochemistry, I've just discussed all those parts, the properties of amino acids, right? The D and the L forms, right? So that is you can just include over here as well. So yes, this was the discussion for today. Thank you for your patience and listening me out, guys, right?